How potent can propaganda become in today's media-driven society? In the digital age, propaganda has found fertile ground to flourish. It's a tool wielded by those in power, and its effects can be seen far and wide. Take, for instance, the recent events involving Russian President Vladimir Putin and his interview with Tucker Carlson. The timing of this interview was no coincidence. It was strategically scheduled amidst a significant collapse in US support for Ukraine. This move allowed Putin an opportunity to further erode the likelihood of US funding for Ukraine, using the powerful platform of media to sway public opinion. It's important to note that Carlson himself has been accused of echoing Russian propaganda, specifically misinformation about Ukraine. Whether knowingly or not, the host's skepticism about the need for US aid to Ukraine aligns perfectly with Putin's agenda. This is a prime example of how propaganda can shape narratives and influence the masses. As we delve into the details of Putin's recent interview, we begin to understand the magnitude of its impact. The announcement of the interview was a surprise, but the timing was no mere coincidence. It was a carefully orchestrated chess move designed to inflict maximum damage on US support for Ukraine. As the news broke about the collapse of a congressional attempt to provide aid to Ukraine, Tucker Carlson, a name synonymous with controversy, was gearing up for an interview with none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin. The timing was impeccable, giving Putin a prime platform to further erode the likelihood of US funding for Ukraine. Tucker Carlson, who has been accused of echoing Russian propaganda and misinformation on Ukraine, was the perfect conduit for Putin's message. Meanwhile, in the midst of these developments, rumors began to circulate about Carlson's presence in Moscow. These rumors, sparked by sightings of Carlson at the Bolshoi Theater, were met with mixed reactions. Figures like Reverend Marjorie Taylor Greene defended the prospect of the interview, lauding Carlson as a truth speaker amidst a sea of critics. As the world watched, the speculation and anticipation surrounding the interview grew. The stage was set, the world waiting in anticipation of what would unfold. The interview aired, and the impact was immediate. Russian President Vladimir Putin sat across from Tucker Carlson, the host who has been accused of echoing Russian propaganda. The stage was set for a conversation that would ripple across borders, leaving a trail of discussions and debates in its wake. During the interview, Putin touched on the topic of Evan Gershkovich, the American journalist detained in Russia on charges of espionage. Putin did not rule out the possibility of releasing Gershkovich, suggesting an agreement could be reached between the United States and Russia. However, he remained firm on the charges, alleging that Gershkovich was caught receiving classified information. The United States State Department, along with Gershkovich himself, have vehemently denied these accusations, labeling him as wrongfully detained. The interview wasn't just about expressing views on one issue, but was a platform for Putin to deliver carefully tailored propaganda designed to resonate with certain American demographics. Putin's skepticism about Ukraine aid found a sympathetic ear in Carlson, aligning with former President Donald Trump and his supporters in Congress. This gave Putin an opportunity to address the GOP's supporters directly, further chipping away at the already dwindling US support for Ukraine. In the aftermath of the interview, Tucker Carlson faced widespread criticism for his role. Accusations flew about the host's part in echoing Russian propaganda and misinformation on Ukraine, and questions were raised about the need for US aid. The timing of the interview coincided with a congressional attempt to provide aid to Ukraine collapsing, which only served to amplify the impact of Putin's words. But in the world of media and politics, the aftermath of the interview signals a propaganda victory for Putin. He managed to use the platform to further his agenda, reaching out to a particular demographic and possibly influencing the political discourse in the United States. Whether or not one agrees with the content of the interview, its impact is undeniable. It has set the stage for a new chapter in the complex relationship between Russia, the United States, and Ukraine. So what does all of this tell us about the power of propaganda? It tells us that propaganda, when wielded effectively, can be a formidable tool, even in an era where information is readily available. The strategic timing of Putin's interview with Tucker Carlson, just as US support for Ukraine was waning, demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of the media landscape and its ability to shape public opinion. The interview itself served as a platform for Putin to disseminate his narrative, questioning the need for US aid to Ukraine and casting doubt on the legitimacy of the charges against American journalist Evan Gershkovich. In the aftermath, we've seen the ripple effects of this propaganda victory, from the further erosion of US support for Ukraine to the potential sway it holds over a significant segment of the American populace. Yet, it's not just about the events that transpired, but what they represent on a larger scale. They remind us of the power that media holds in shaping public perception and the importance of critical thinking in discerning fact from fiction. They underscore the role that media entities and personalities like Tucker Carlson play in this dynamic, and the responsibility that comes with it. In a world where media has immense influence, it's crucial to remember the potency of propaganda and the importance of discerning fact from fiction.